Hi, everybody. This is your friend Daniel Hutchins. We're back for another live stream. Yes, another live stream here on our channel. And we're going to be talking about some stuff from our friend Screen Rant. Yes, our friend Screen Rant. Okay, so first we're going to be talking about Oscar Isaac's Moon Knight and the advice that Robert Downey Jr. gave him. Okay. Oscar Isaac Moon Knight has shared the advice from the Marvel Cinematic Universe that Robert Downey Jr. had given him. Yes. So ahead of the Marvel Disney Plus show, Moon Knight, of that same name, Oscar Isaac received MCU advice from both Kevin Feige and Iron Man star Robert Downey Jr. Okay, 2 hours ago, guys. Okay, Moon Knight's Oscar Isaac shares the advice that Robert Downey Jr. has given him upon joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, since he first appeared as Tony Stark as 2008, we already kind of know, and he's retired his character from Endgame, paving the new way for new heroes to make their mark in the universe. Moon Knight has premiered on Disney Plus like, no, not yesterday, but 2 days ago. But again, has introduced Isaac as one of those heroes, or rather, should say, anti heroes. Now, thanks to roles in films like the Coen brothers' Inside Llewyn Davis, we also have Disney's Star Wars sequel trilogy and also the Denis Villeneuve's Dune. Now, Isaac has also, again, established himself as one of the most talented in demand actors of Hollywood. Since the 2020 announcement, he would also star not only just in Moon Knight, but again, he's admitted was hesitant to join the MCU. Unfamiliar with the Marvel process, he asked Tony Stark for advice, and there's some things he said. But again, in recent interviews with Extra, which is a news place, Isaac has revealed the piece that advice that Downey has given him before before working on Moon Knight. The Marvel Cinematic Universe veteran has told him to collaborate with the president, Kevin Feige, and be bold with his choices. He also doubles down on Iron Man being the biggest inspiration for his show, something he's said often from his run up to the Moon Knight premiere. You could read his quotes below. I did talk to Robert Downey Jr. quite a bit, they said, but then I talked to him a lot. I mean, he's a friend of mine already, but so we just talked to him about it and just say, like, what his sense of it was and how his process been. And he's been such a great person to be with and talk to. Obviously, the whole experience, and also for me, the biggest inspiration, because to this very day, still the first Iron Man movie is just as good as it was back in '08. Now, he also really said Kevin Feige is a genius. He's a collaborator, and don't be afraid to come to him with your ideas and give you your thoughts and be bold with your choices. Okay, so Isaac has also talked about being drawn to Moon Knight Stephen Grant, which is a mild mannered gift shop employee suffering the dissociative identity disorder, otherwise known as DID. Now, again, in comics, Moon Knight's primary persona is that Mark Spector. Yes, Mark Spector. He's a mercenary who takes a pact of Egyptian moon gods Khonshu. Again, Moon Knight episode 1 makes the bold decision to walk themselves in perspectives of Stephen, who is not only unaware of his dead, but also that Mark and Khonshu as well. Arguably, what makes his journey with Stephen more immersive, thrilling, and endearing. They said Moon Knight creators hired a psychiatrist to help him properly depict mental illness. If Isaac's impressive filmography is of any indication, it would be safe to say he did so with due diligence. Isaac's co star, Ethan Hawke, has also praised Marvel Studios for giving the cast and crew creative freedom to make mistakes while also exploring the characters of Moon Knight and the story. Jon Favreau, the person behind Iron Man, famously began production with an incomplete script, also allows Downey and Company to improvise lots of dialogue, clearly sets a precedence to Marvel collaborative processes. Because lots of people improvise in Marvel movies. You just look back at Phase 1 and 2. You let me know about that. But again, like Iron Man, Moon Knight is an origin story. Unlike Tony Stark's ego, we know Mark with Moon Knight was already fully formed. Now, in Stephen discovering his own origin, while it doesn't necessarily rely on large in-universe ties to his story, and Isaac's MCU contract isn't long-term though. Again, we don't know that yet, but again, it's not long-term yet. Therefore, Moon Knight will likely just be the beginning of his tenure to the MCU. Okay, so that's what's going on with Moon Knight and his talk he had with Robert Downey Jr. Just figured you should know that Oscar Isaac Moon Knight has talked to Robert Downey Jr. before he started his show on Disney Plus, and for Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole for Phase 4. Okay, so we're gonna be talking about some other stuff. Okay, you want to know more about Young Justice? I can tell you on Young Justice. Young Justice creators have revealed which characters were off the limits for Season 1. So Young Justice creators revealed which characters were off limits to them when they started their series 9 hours ago. Okay, everybody, creators of Young Justice revealed which characters were off limits for them when they first debuted their series. Young Justice premiered on Cartoon Network with a special 2-episode premiere on November the 26th of 2010. It continued the run for 2 seasons on the network. In 2013, it rebooted, and again, now it moved to the Universe app, and then over in 2019, HBO Max for the Season 4 Young Justice Phantoms, which is the newest one. Now, the series focuses on a covert team of superhero sidekicks, including Robin, Aqualad, Kid Flash, Miss Martian, Superboy, and Artemis, the main team. The team would also be joined by Zatanna and Rocket in Season 1, with other popular heroes joining from later seasons, including Beast Boy, Cyborg, Static Shock, and others. And again, the roster has expanded. Many of the original team members took back seats to new additions. But again, they're still part of that team, y'all. Still part of that team. But Young Justice Phantoms has put the focus back on the original team. At one point, Season 1 could have included some other iconic heroes. Here we're going to go again. So, in an open Q&A with the Young Justice creators, held by DC Comics, the duo has revealed guidelines to them given during the beginning of their series run. So, again, they revealed the characters Darkseid, Donna Troy, Casta Sandsmark, and version of Wonder Girl and Blue Beetle were off limits during Season 1. They have been since allowed to use those characters in series, but revealed no other character had been off limits. Now, way back in the beginning of Season 1, we were told 4 characters who were off limits to us: Darkseid, Wonder Girl, Donna Troy, Wonder Girl, Casta Sandsmark, and Blue Beetle, Ted Kord. We have no idea why those characters were off limits, but obviously those are restrictions that were eventually lifted, as all 4 have been appeared in the series later. But since then, there have been no other characters that were declared off limits. Okay, reason of those characters being off limits is not clear, but again, other DC projects or development at the time been in 2010. It was reported Blue Beetle series was in development, and also the Jamie Ray's version of his character. It is likely DC did not want multiple versions of him and not confuse audiences. NBC was also developing Wonder Woman series with Adrian Palica in 2010 and likely didn't want to use Wonder Woman content. DC and Warner Bros. Had to be even more stricter about other characters being multiple versions of different media. That's been eased from recent years. Now, since Young Justice Season 1 had hit so well and so successful, the various characters have appeared later. Darkseid being teased as the Light's partner and main threat of Season 3. Donna Troy made her first appearance in Season 3, just as an ambassador to Themyscira and the United Nations. Cassie Sandsmark as Wonder Girl was also introduced in Season 2 and been a member since Outsiders. She now acts as a team leader, and Ted Kord was killed by the Light before the events of Season 2, with the scarab landing near Jamie Ray's to him being the new Blue Beetle. Now, in 12 years since Young Justice premiered, those inclusions of characters just shows how DC and Warner Bros. implementation of those characters and rules have been changed. Okay, guys, so that's a little bit of some Young Justice history. Again, about the show by DC Comics. Again, the time check right now is 10 minutes. Now we're going to keep going. Yes, we're going to keep going. It's really important and we keep going. All right. So, No Way Home fan art imagines how Maguire's Spider-Man has got to the MCU. Spider-Man fan comic or fan art has imagined the specifics of how Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker was transported to the multiverse in No Way Home. Okay, 9 hours ago. Okay, piece of Spider-Man No Way Home fan art has reimagined the details of how Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker was brought into MCU. The third installment of the Tom Holland Spider-Man trilogy had major expectations placed on the shoulders by fans. While anticipating multiverse crossover events, seeing trailers featuring villains of the past, we already said those names 1,000 times. The film released last year. Audiences across the world were delighted to have anticipation reward to us. In film's final act, Holland has shared the screen with both of her Spider-Mans, Maguire and Garfield, and all three had teamed up to thwart the sinister gatherings of foes. Again, the return of the two other Spider-Men have been a huge moment in comic book movie history. In fact, it is one of the biggest huge moments of history. And it's a key moment to No Way Home, accumulating enough box office revenue to become the sixth highest grossing movie of all time. Maguire's reprisal, in particular, had great interest since it's been 14 years since he played his part from Spider-Man trilogy from Sam Raimi. The actor has appeared in very few films from the 2010s, but has received several fan-pleasing moments from a union with Melina, who played as Dr. Octopus from 2004, to his charmingly unstated entrance stepping through portals from the small living room. Okay, so fan artist MMH Arts has reimagined Maguire's entrance to the MCU might have looked like from perspectives from fan comic details from multiverse jumps. The comic begins with Maguire's Peter Parker and his universe going on his daily life as he begins to fade away and suddenly reappear in a very different New York City. Follow his spider sense and ends up in Times Square, witness a new broadcast of J. Jonah Jameson reporting the reveal of MCU Peter's identity. Maguire's Peter has comprehended the situation as he remarks on how weird life was as Spider-Man is. And again, opening monologues to his film before someone in the crowd calls him out. Checks out that post below. Okay, buddy. When you're Peter Parker, you realize that in an alternate universe, part is like you, whatever. Okay, so that was posted on March the 29th on Twitter. You can check it out. The piece is interesting because it takes on what Peter Parker's experience would have been like pulled across from the multiverse. Eagle-eye fans would notice several Easter eggs within the artwork, such as figures in Times Square crowd like Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy. Peter's shopping list also includes references to Raimi films such as Strawberries and Green Vegetables. Perhaps more interesting is being transported. Peter appears to be preparing a drink in a mug that reads the number 1 dad, inferring that he's the older version of his character is now a dad and now a father. Now, in Maguire and Garfield's return in Spider-Man No Way Home being so well received, fans are presuming it won't be the last of them. But again, people say to speculate to appear in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Again, Maguire is, I think, supposed to come to Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. But again, fueled by reports and rumors and numerous cameos being films directed by Spider-Man alumni, the Sam Raimi, demand for a potential Spider-Man 4 has also been higher because the plotline of Maguire raising a daughter to become the new Mayday Parker, we know, the Spider-Woman, touted by fans. Maguire was apparently enthusiastic of keeping his character history for post-Spider-Man 3 vagues. Now again, we know scenes could have been left done to leave the door open for future films. Again, hopefully, seeing Maguire raise the daughter, Mayday Parker become Spider-Woman, etc., etc. And maybe even see the Kirsten Dunst return as MJ. That'd be nice. So then, again, fan art does have great jobs of imagining or reimagining more of what life was like in that version of Spider-Man in years he was away, and demonstrates clear fan desires to see history expanded upon. Okay, guys, so that's a little bit of something interesting I wanted to share. You can check out that fan art, again, on Twitter. And again, we are going to keep this going. We're going to keep this going. We are going to hopefully get at least a little bit under an hour. We're going to try to go a little under an hour. That's what I'm going to try to shoot for. Okay, so, all right, so you want to know why Loki is reportedly the most watched MCU show on Disney Plus? I can tell you why. Loki is reportedly the most watched MCU show on Disney Plus. Okay, almost a year and 3 Marvel shows later, Loki is reportedly still the most watched series to take place in Marvel Cinematic Universe from Disney Plus. This is 9 hours ago, everybody. Okay, Loki is reportedly the most watched Marvel Cinematic Universe show on Disney Plus, not long after Disney launched this service in 2020. Now again, Marvel Studios debuted the first MCU series WandaVision from 2021, which has proved the small screen transition from successes. The MCU's fourth phase has continued with the Falcon Winter Soldier and Loki. WandaVision has hinted the existence of alternate realities, while Loki drove that idea of multiverse and alternate timelines previously alluded to features like Thor Dark World 2013, Doctor Strange 2016, Avengers Endgame 2019. The series has followed variant versions of Loki, Tom Hiddleston, who's escaped the Tesseract during the time heist in Endgame and was arrested by bureaucratic time variance authority, TVA, Agent Mobius and Morbius by Owen Wilson, has enlisted the God of Mischief help to track down the Goddess of Mischief, Sophia Di Martino, who's also posed a threat to the sacred timeline in He Who Remains, Jonathan Majors. Following the events of Disney Plus's What If, Hawkeye, and now Moon Knight. Now again, Loki remains the show to beat all the terms of viewership. Now, on top of having been the most watched premiere of any Disney Plus show, Loki is reportedly the most watched MCU series on the stream service. According to THR, the series has clocked about 5.23 billion minutes watched on Disney Plus, with WandaVision only in second place with 4.8 billion minutes, The Falcon Winter Soldier with 4.15 billion, and Hawkeye at 3.45 billion. Came third and fourth and standing. Now again, outside the MCU, The Mandalorian has still reigned supreme in Galaxy Far, Far Away with only 14.5 billion minutes watched, and The Book of Boba Fett only has 4.4 billion minutes. Okay, you want to know the billions and billions and billions of minutes on who watched what on Disney Plus? I just told you, if you just listened. Now again, Loki is only live-action MCU series on Disney Plus confirmed to have a second season. Season 1 ends with that cliffhanger saying Loki in a very different TVA ruled by Kang the Conqueror, expected to appear in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Now again, episode post-credit had showed Decay's Fire stamped the words Loki will return in Season 2. No official announcements were made yet, but filming for Season 2 is reportedly supposed to begin this summer in UK. Hiddleston, Wilson, DiMartino, and others will again are expected to return for Season 2. However, director Kate Herron will not be returning. Instead, the Moon Knight director is going to helm Season 2. Weirdly, though, underneath the showrunner Michael Waldron, who's also wrote the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. As MCU has developed the multiverse concept, Loki and the timeline jumping characters could interact with handfuls of other MCU projects. For example, Loki, Sylvie, and Mobius were all rumored to appear somewhere in Multiverse of Madness. WandaVision and Loki are arguably the most watched shows ahead of 2022's big films. Conversely, any though that MCU character could theoretically appear in Loki. Again, boding well for season 2 numbers. Suffice to say, the MCU will continue to thrive on Disney Plus thanks to shows like Loki, Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, Secret Invasion, Ironheart, and the list goes on. Again, guys. So that's what's going on with the numbers. You want to know the numbers? I told you the numbers. Why Loki is still reportedly the most watched show of MCU show on Disney Plus. Because like I said, you can't lie with numbers. You can never lie with numbers. Like I said. Okay, we're going to be doing another thing, and then after that, we'll wrap it up. Okay, one more thing. Yes, one more thing. If we can find one more good thing. Okay, then I'm going to probably just drink my coffee, just listen to music and stuff. But anyways, yeah. All right. So, you want to know what's going on with Wonder Woman, right? I can tell you what's going on with Wonder Woman, since we haven't talked to her about a while. Okay, Chris Pine. Yes, Chris Pine, the actor Chris Pine. He addresses possibility of his Steve Trevor and his return for Wonder Woman 3. Okay, the Wonder Woman 3 with Gal Gadot. Okay, so actor Chris Pine has addressed whether or not he would return as his character Steve Trevor in the director chair movie Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman 3 project with Gal Gadot 10 hours ago. You want to know what's going on with Chris Pine and Wonder Woman 3 and Patty Jenkins and all that shit? Well, you came to the right place. Actor Chris Pine comments on whether or not his character Steve Trevor could return in Wonder Woman 3. Pine has first played Trevor back in 2017's Wonder Woman. He is a soldier recruiting the team to stop the mustard gas during World War I. Trevor was created in 1941 by the Wonder Woman creator, William Moulton Morrison. He's then acted as the partner and love interest to Diana Prince ever since the comics. Now again, Pine's Trevor was killed off at the end of Wonder Woman, but reappeared in the sequel only for a short time, but only in somebody else's body. Okay, so we already know that whole conspiracy about how like Steve Trevor ended up being in somebody else's body in Wonder Woman 1984. That's a weird conspiracy that I'm not going to share, but you can check that on your own. Now, in new interviews via the USA Today, Pine was asked about what he's learned from working with Wonder Woman director Patty Jenkins, and again the executive producer on his latest films, all the Old Knives and The Contractor. Again, the actor said he's learned some lessons, that she just had some confidence in letting her opinions be known. Collaborative spirit, in terms again of what she wanted. Now, again, as Wonder Woman 3, however, Pine is less confident to seeing Steve Trevor return, given rather blunt responses to the query, saying, "I think poor Steve is dead, but I wish them all the best," on the third one. Okay, Pine has had a number of projects in the work that don't revolve around superheroes. He's still dipping his toes into big budgets and low budget fare. Again, addition to all the Old Knives and Contractor, Pine is also starring in Olivia Wilde's sophomore effort Don't Worry Darling, and has also starred in the next attempt to adapt in Dungeons and Dragons, which is also directed by John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein Game Night. Again, we know Pine's also expected to return as Captain Kirk in Star Trek 4. Yes, Chris Pine is now the new Captain Kirk in Star Trek 4. Again, so with Pine's Trevor ended up being endearing and being a beloved big screen character, having him return from Wonder Woman 3 would feel like the betrayal of his character journey and his sacrifice, making his further inclusion little more than just fan service. However, most fans feel his absence is really necessary in this point, because, however, after the odd return from Wonder Woman 1984, where he was in someone else's body, weird controversy on that, guys. Weird controversies. Now, again, Trevor will no doubt continue to weave the impacts on the marks of Wonder Woman. It doesn't need to be continued again. It doesn't need to bring him back to feature again, so as it diminishes what his character done to the franchise. Hopefully, Wonder Woman 3 could find another way to address Trevor without subjecting him to another strange resurrection or having him be in some other guy's body, like from the sequel. Again, that is weird, but again, let me know your guys' thoughts. Let me know your guys' thoughts. This is a wrap of another live stream. I figured I'd do another quick one for you. Do a number 25 or 26 minute or again, let me know your guys' thoughts. Again, I thought you should know what's going on with Comic Universe since Screen Rant has just posted a shitload of stuff. So again, let me know your thoughts. Again, if you have any comments on any of the content or have any questions at all, leave them in the comments below. And you have a great day, and I'll see you again later. Bye.